Here we see the interviews. We really try to get the girls and Jared to give us the most genuine answers, so the people watching it, the people that know them personally, can really know it's real and be like, this is my friend, and like have the biggest impact on them.
This girl was annoying. No, I'm kidding. Alright, so let's talk about party.
Oh, when I was filming this, it was a really small gig. Like there was only like 10 to 15 people, maybe 20, and we had to get really, I used a 15mm to get those really close shots to make it seem like it was really active. There was a lot going on, but in reality it was pretty small. It was fun though. They filled up a whole bunch of empty bottles with water, so they're just chugging that down.
Yeah, I think the party scene turned out pretty well. Definitely props to Aubrey Michelle. And I think it turned out really well, which is interesting because it was probably the most low budget thing we've ever done. The lights here were bought for about maybe I think $15 total maybe. They were just little LEDs bought from Home Depot, I think, and the lighting turned out great.
And we actually used Gatorade for that throw up scene, just to let everyone know.
It was water.
I think they're really fun.
There's just pool water.
You get to see Jared's reaction, how he really doesn't want to drink, and I think that has a really big effect on the crash scene, because it's he really didn't want to be there, and then he's the one that dies. So then later on when you see Savannah's face, it all just comes together.
Yeah, here you also notice some really crazy lens flares. It's actually something that I've never really seen before. You can see them in the upcoming shot. They kind of blend in, almost replicate the actual lights, but on the bottom of the screen. And there's really no way to avoid them. But I think it still kind of added to the flair of the party. I don't think it really subtracted from the scene in any way.
Anything, I feel like I made the shots pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and one of the biggest problems we had with the party as well as the crash scene was the night lighting. The night lighting was terrible. It was horrible to work with, and it was no fun at all. But I do think the shots came out okay.
The funny thing about Taryn being in the shot is that he was actually at the party, so when editing we had to be really careful not to get him in the shots to take away from because the continuity is important when you're filming something. We don't want people to notice the mistakes and take away from it.
I really like the audio, especially in the party scene with something going on so hectic with maybe 15-20 people. Especially in the car ride, everything just worked out really well. The audio was clean.
If you notice, the audio switches to the actual audio in the thing. It's not like a music we put over. We picked that song before we even listened to the audio, and it turns out that the same song was playing at the end, so that was a really lucky shot that we got.
Nice coincidence. And then of course you have the street lighting. We actually went under a street lamp to give us as much lighting as we possibly could, and even still the lighting was still terrible. And you can always notice the ISO cranked up almost all the way. You can kind of see the kind of gray and grainy kind of stuff going on. Oh, and here's the crash scene. So the crash scene was interesting. Savannah definitely knows how to fake a crash scene, as well as her crazy driving definitely adds to it. I would say right now she's doing an unreasonably illegal speed. So
with this shot right here, it was really tricky to film because none of the girls knew how to drive. So Jessica driving was actually a really big problem to fake a crash scene, since she actually kept stopping while we were driving in the middle of the street and kind of kept messing up and swerving a lot.
Yeah, so in these shots we always tried to keep the drunk driver's car all wobbly shots. And here, this shot right here, when you're gonna see the car smash into that one. Basically we just parked the two cars together in a T-bone position and backed them up and reversed the clip post-production.
Now, the beginning shot with the 911 call was actually Dave Vaughn's idea, and I think it really gave it a
right here we have a time lapse to show that from 9:01 to early morning, and here we have the crash scene on the field. And instantly we could see the actors just pure emotion, realizing what they've done and the precautions that they should have taken.
Yeah, and I got some these before any emergency personnel show up shots, because I really wanted to capture how brutal everything was, try to get some nice close shots, especially on Jared.
I think you also notice a lot of canted angles, kind of turn to the left or turn to the right, kind of give it an eerie feel. Definitely a lot of close-ups on the blood and stuff like that.
I was in charge of the firefighters, and Kishana, and I was in charge of this. I was filming the Jaws of Life, which was a crazy thing because it literally rips the car apart, and so it enables the firefighters to get into the hurt or injured passengers. And that saw actually cut through metal and plastic, which was pretty insane. And when they took off the top of the car.
That's probably a lot of editing because that actually took longer than it's supposed to, the Jaws Alive.
Yeah, the Jaws Alive, it took longer than normal. Usually it's faster than this, but the firefighters were having some trouble with it. So I shot the helicopter and I had to run to the backfield to catch the helicopter, and I had to focus on getting their logos to show that it was the CalStar helicopter. And then I had trouble filming her because there's people in the way, like the helicopter nurse and all that. So I got some nice shots.
It's somewhere I can just be myself.
And then as we were walking, I had to make sure, I had trouble getting, not getting any of the other DVTV people in it. And then here's a shot of us in the, leaving the school.
Oh yeah, we really tried to kind of intertwine the accident and like what they're passionate about and things like that, like things that they really like to do, because it kind of hits you more emotionally that way.
I think it really makes it more relatable. It's like this is a real person. It's not just like a fake thing. Once you see the audio, like the interview with the crash scene, you're like, it really hits you, and you can definitely see that with the audience.
Learning about the victims' passions and their plans for the future really has an impact on you. Realizing that those future expectations are basically over for them.
And right here I was like getting the corner showing up, trying to get nice shots. That shot actually with Jared underneath the tarp was really hard because like his face was completely dark. We also, Matt got a shot of his mom crying because I was having to get Jared getting loaded into the corner van.
Yeah, that was this right here. This is the money shot. This is one of the 2 money shots, I think. His mom crying. It was one of the only people that we really got to cry and capture it up close, and I think it kind of hits you hard when you watch it.
I think it makes it more realistic, definitely, to see a parent and see them saying your kid is dead.
It's one thing that parents can show emotion or take emotionally serious. It's their children's lives, so.
Oh, and I went into the back of the corner's van with Jared when he was getting loaded in, and the corner was making like some weird like dead jokes. You know, he was going like, "Oh, hey, you alive back there?" Ha ha.
And here, I think this is, I would say, money sequencer. I think the second money shot is coming up pretty soon, when it looks straight in Savannah's eyes when the officer is telling her, "You killed your friend," basically saying, "How do you feel about that?" And I think that's one thing that a lot of teenagers can relate to, because it's kind of like they don't notice it's coming right here. They don't really notice how much they can affect people. And as you see her face, she's a really good actress, but in a way this is kind of hitting her really hard deep down inside. So it's the Every 15 Minutes program is actually kind of wrap those emotions up into her, so we're able to capture it well.
So when shooting in the hospital, it was very dark, so I had to boost up the ISO. And then I had to get shots of her like getting like barely losing her breath. So yeah, and then it was hard with the nurses because some of them were like smiling because they knew how it was like only like fake. And then with the dad, it was like something real because he just heard that his daughter died. So it's emotional. Yeah, I was going to say props on the makeup as well, because they had the ability to use fake blood and fake wounds and all that and still make it look extremely realistic at extra close-ups.
Getting the shots in the hospital was pretty tricky because I didn't know what was going on, so I had to be flexible with what to shoot and when to shoot. So a lot of my shots were really quick.
Also, little side note, just for anybody who's curious, when you see people who have glass in their blood, the glass is actually big chunks of salt that they drop on top of the fake blood.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Does it stick?
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
It looks hella realistic. Cop scene, who did it?
Oops.
Matt has nothing to say.
Matt, you got it. Okay, well, don't be in here if you're not gonna say anything. Let's see.
Talk about how like this is like a real life experience for her.
I don't think we want to put that in there, to be honest.
We've already
I like the
elaborated
shot
so
when
much.
she's in the jail cell. I think that's cool because she's just like, she looks so isolated. But
I really like this scene right here when the lights come on.
How was that me?
I like how they talk about how she loves being with her friends, but she's alone in her jail cell. That's not with anyone. I thought we're really lucky it came together.
yeah, the interviews and the shots, we really try to make them like intertwine to make it just, they're almost telling the story like the opposite. It's really cool to like have the opposites being like, oh, I love my friends, and then yeah, being in the jail cell alone.
those shots where with the flashbacks were actually like from the very beginning, you know, it was like showing the past. And right here is the coroner's van. I had to shoot this like a week before. I'd go down to Martinez, and I was trying to get some like nice shots of like him getting ready. And there was just a dummy in there, so it's like in this shot you can see him like he does it like really rough. I was just pretty much trying to get some unique shots, you know, like on the bag with his name, you know, putting the toe tag on. He was like making weird jokes throughout the entire time, like he always does. But then this shot, like there was actual dead bodies in there, and I thought they were fake at first. So when the door actually started closing, like that's when I realized, oh, those weren't fake, because they looked so fake when like their feet, I don't know, it was just weird. But this was like a really nice shot, but it was creepy because I was just chilling in a room with a bunch of dead bodies.
I think that was kind of a perfect way to end it. Just he's dead, and the doors are closed to his life.
All right. Good stuff.